I'm 32M, and my wife Lisa, 30F, and I've been married for 3 years. We met at a work conference 4 years ago, hit it off over shared laughs about office drama and awkward bosses, and dated for 2 years before tying the knot in a small backyard ceremony with close friends and string lights we hung ourselves. Our life together has been solid, or so I thought. Weekend hikes where we'd pack sandwiches and talk about everything, cooking dinner side by side, experimenting with new recipes, saving for a house with a garden like she always wanted, and even binge-watching shows curled up on the couch. The usual couple stuff that made me feel lucky. She's always been affectionate, planning surprise picnics in the park or leaving little notes in my lunch with inside jokes. And we've talked openly about starting a family soon, maybe next year after we settle into a bigger place. Last night, I came home early from a guy's night out because of a headache and overheard her on the phone with her best friend in our bedroom, saying she never truly loved me, that she only stayed for the financial security since I have a stable job in tech and cover most bills like the rent and car payments, and she's planning to leave once she's saved enough from her freelance graphic design gigs to stand on her own. It gutted me. I froze in the hallway, hearing her laugh about how she's faked emotions to keep things smooth, and even joked that our wedding vows were just words to seal the deal. When she hung up, I pretended everything was normal, joining her for a quick TV episode, but I couldn't sleep that night, replaying it all while staring at the ceiling, wondering how I missed the signs. We've had minor arguments about money, like her stressing over slow client payments, but nothing like this betrayal. My brother says confront her directly before it festers, but I'm scared it'll blow up and confirm my worst fears. Reddit, what do I do when my wife revealed she never truly loved me after 3 years of marriage, and I overheard her telling her best friend she only stayed for the financial security and is planning on leaving me? Talk to her now, gather evidence like checking our accounts, or start preparing for the worst quietly. Update 1. I was still reeling from overhearing Lisa on the phone with her best friend, confessing she never loved me and only stuck around for my financial stability, with details like how my steady paycheck let her pursue freelancing without worry. Another line about how she'd timed her exit for after-tax season to maximize savings, and her plans to bail once set up, which left me pretending normalcy that night, but spiraling inside with racing thoughts during every quiet moment. The next morning over coffee in our kitchen, I couldn't hold it in and confronted her, leading to a raw talk that confused me more, but didn't end things, stretching on as we skipped our usual weekend errands. She was sipping her mug, chatting about weekend plans like our usual grocery run and maybe a hike if the weather held. When I brought up what I'd heard, repeating bits like her saying the marriage was more convenience than love, she'd leave when independent, and even that our shared vacations were just perks. Her face went pale, and she denied it at first, asking how much I'd eavesdropped and if I'd misunderstood the tone, then explained it was taken out of context, that she was venting frustrations from a tough work week with late payments and didn't mean it literally, but admitted she'd felt trapped sometimes due to her unstable income compared to mine, especially after a recent client ghosted her. I pressed for why she'd laugh about faking feelings, pointing out specific lines like joking she'd acted her way through anniversaries or our recent date nights, and she got defensive, saying everyone has doubts and long talks with friends, and her bestie was just a sounding board to blow off steam, but promised she did love me deeply and wanted to work on it through better communication. We went back and forth for an hour, me sharing how betrayed I felt after building our life together, like saving for that dream house with the garden she sketched out, and her apologizing but insisting it was a bad day amplified by stress, not the truth of her heart. She suggested couples counseling to dig deeper, but I left for work doubtful, thinking about separate accounts and how every glance at our wedding photo now stung. Friends advised, giving her a chance to explain fully before decisions. But the hurt lingers, making every interaction awkward like forced small talk over dinner. Should I push for more details from a friend or start protecting myself financially in case it's all real? Update 2. The kitchen confrontation where I called out Lisa on her overheard call, admitting no real love and staying for money, with laughs about faking it through our marriage milestones like our beach honeymoon or that surprise picnic she planned last month, led to her shaky denials and promises to fix things, but left me wary as we tiptoed around each other with short texts and avoided eye contact at home. A few days later, her best friend reached out wanting to meet at a cafe, and what she shared flipped my understanding, pulling back the curtain on a bigger picture during our talk over lattes that extended into the afternoon. We sat outside, the street noise buzzing as she fidgeted with her cup and napkin, explaining she wasn't just a friend, but had been helping Lisa with informal therapy exercises since Lisa couldn't afford a professional, yet due to her freelance ups and downs. Stuff like role-playing worst fears to process anxiety from her parents' divorce, where her mom stayed in a bad marriage for stability and it scarred her with worries about repeating patterns. The call I'd heard was a scripted scenario Lisa was practicing, voicing made-up doubts like never loving me, using finances as a crutch to leave, or even an added line about how her future family plans felt like a trap, all to confront and dismiss those fears in a safe space. Ending with her affirming the opposite to her friend about how much she valued our bond and daily joys. Her friend showed me notes from their sessions, with examples like Lisa saying in a role play, "I've faked every I love you," but then debriefing how it felt wrong because her real feelings were deep, tied to little things like our high traditions or cooking experiments, and another exercise where she'd list escape plans only to tear them up as catharsis. It clicked with odd behaviors I'd noticed, like her journaling more lately, pulling away during money talks, or seeming distant after family visits that reminded her of her childhood. Lisa joined us halfway through, tearful and explaining she kept the therapy quiet out of embarrassment over seeming weak, but the exercise was to strengthen her commitment, not undermine it, and she regretted not sharing sooner. I opened up about my pain from overhearing, feeling like our whole marriage was a lie, and we talked for hours going over specifics, her apologizing for the secrecy while I admitted eavesdropping wasn't fair and had twisted my trust. The irony hit that her way of fighting for us almost broke us, building suspense as we scheduled real counseling to sort all. Can we rebuild from this mix-up, or is the trust too shaken despite the explanations? Update 3. The cafe meet with Lisa's best friend, revealing the overheard confession as a therapy roleplay for her commitment anxiety, like scripted lines about no love, leaving for financial reasons, and faking through milestones rooted in her parents' divorce, came after my confrontation and her initial denials, shifting everything as we dove into fixing the damage with open hearts. Over the next couple months, we committed to transparency and professional help, turning the mess into a stronger foundation that brought us closer in unexpected ways. We started joint therapy sessions online every other week, unpacking her fears in a neutral space where she'd share how her mom's unhappy marriage made her panic about dependency and vulnerability, complete with an exercise where we'd role-play healthy discussions ourselves to rebuild habits. And I'd talk about my insecurity from eavesdropping, learning tools like open check-ins to voice doubts early before they fester. Lisa opened up her journals more freely, showing pages where she'd written affirmations about our real moments, like the surprise notes she'd left me or our lazy weekend hikes, proving the role-play was just a tool to face shadows, not reality. And we even incorporated fun ones like gratitude lists during dinners. We made practical changes too, like setting up a shared budget that empowered her freelancing without reliance, giving her side projects more room to grow, and plan low-key dates to reconnect, such as those hikes where we talked freely about dreams like starting a family now that trust was rebuilding, or quiet evenings cooking new recipes together. Her friend stayed involved positively, joining us for a casual dinner to clear any lingering awkwardness and share laughs about the misunderstanding. And we even renewed our vows in a simple park ceremony with close family, symbolizing a fresh start complete with personalized promises about honesty. The experience deepened our connection, with Lisa feeling more secure in her love and me appreciating her vulnerability in ways I hadn't before, leading to excited talks about kids and a home that feels truly ours, stronger for having weathered the storm and come out communicating better than ever.